Gabe Curtis here, the weather forecaster at EOAlive, bringing you my predictions for this upcoming winter. This will be the 5th year where I look through the record books trying to find years that correlate to this past season and use the outcome of the following season to try and predict the future, although this will be the second debut here on EOA. But before I get to that, I want to go over my accuracy of last winter. I projected an end zone neutral to weak La Nina season that brings slightly below average sea surface temperatures to the Pacific Ocean, generally allowing that jet stream to be pushed over the Pacific Northwest, allowing for more active weather at times. That was a forecast check. We were under a weak La Nina. I also projected near to slightly below average temperatures. If you average out the months between November and March, it was generally around normal, with slightly below east of the Cascades and slightly above west of the Cascades. That was also a forecast check. I projected near to slightly above average snowfall, and although we were on the higher end of that range, that was still a forecast check. My proudest headline from the Outlook was the most active part of the winter, late December into early January. That came true. Between the week of Christmas and New Year's, we saw an Arctic front spilling in from Canada, producing the first widespread snow event west of the Cascades and producing 10 to 20 inches of snow within a few days across the Grand Ronde Valley, with the low temperature at the LaGrande Airport got all the way down to negative 22 degrees the morning of January 1st. That was a great projection on my part, although there were some points that I just did not handle very well. That includes the additional widespread snow events in November and February. Those months actually tended to be more mild than not, and we didn't see our next widespread snow event until April, believe it or not, which was very unpredictable. I also thought it was going to be more warmer and rainy late January into early February, but that turned out to be November. And as a whole, I thought it was going to be near to below average rainfall. That would have been the case if we didn't get that increasing amount of precipitation late winter and into spring, but we did. So it turned out to be slightly above average in the rainfall department, although there was one particular month that was drier than normal. I thought it was going to be December, but we actually ended up being February. And now on to this winter, which will continue to be La Nina. In fact, the third year in a row, which we've only done twice in the past 72 years, bringing variation across our state with near to above average snowfall east of the Cascades and only near to below average snowfall west of the Cascades. I think that holds true this upcoming season, bringing the most likely scenario across the Grand Ronde Valley anywhere between 36 to 67 inches of total snowfall, with the lower end of that range out towards Union, the higher end of that range out towards Wallowa, and LaGrande would be right in the middle of the best mean prediction that I came up with of 51.5 inches of total snow. To show that variation across the state, I also ran data sets for the Willamette Valley that shows anywhere between 1 to 6 inches of total snowfall, with PDX bringing the best mean of 3.5 inches of snowfall. Region-wide, that would only be a few inches less than what we saw last season, with slightly more precip east of the Cascades than what we saw last season, and slightly below west of the Cascades, bringing the most amount of precipitation and warmest temperatures the first half of the winter, before we see the possibility of a transition to end zone neutral late winter into spring, which could bring the coldest temperatures and least amount of precipitation the second half of winter. Let's look at this month by month. October starts tomorrow, and that seems to be the driest month out of the entire season, producing anywhere between a half an inch to an inch and a half below normal rainfall on average, but we should still see our first snowflake in the Grand Ronde Valley by the end of the month, bringing the potential for the first snowflake in the Willamette Valley by November, as the east side increases that snowpack, bringing the most amount of snow across the Grand Ronde Valley this calendar year during the month of November, before those conditions become slightly above normal at times. And then December looks the warmest and wettest. The data sets that I ran range anywhere from 2 to 3 degrees above normal temperatures on average, with 1 to 2 inches above normal precipitation. Slightly above normal conditions could continue into early January, but that will be that transition month before we see the snowiest part of the entire season late into the month and into early February, before conditions become increasingly dry and cooler, with March being the coldest month, anywhere between about a half a degree to a degree and a half below normal temperatures, bringing the final dusting west of the Cascades, and possibly the final dusting in the east of the Cascades only into April, as we are seeing much less precipitation the second half of the winter than we did this time last year. And that could raise concerns for a potential worse fire season next summer. Not a slam dunk, but there's something to think about there. That is my full winter outlook. These graphics are available on our EOAlive Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.